The West Coast is awakening to this horrific terrorist attack, and we are sorry to have to report to you as well that United Airlines in the last 30 minutes has just confirmed that Flight 93, which crashed about 7 a.m. Pacific time in western Pennsylvania, was on its way from Newark to San Francisco.
Passengers who were on United Flight 93, it left Newark, New Jersey at around 5 o'clock this morning, was supposed to land in San Francisco sometime after 11 o'clock this morning, but it crashed in Somerset County in Pennsylvania. Airport spokesman Mike McCarran told us he does not know why it crashed at this point. We're hearing that there were a total of 38 passengers on board. That is not confirmed yet.
We are now getting a report, a confirmation from United Airlines that 2 of its planes are gone. One of them apparently the plane that crashed near Pittsburgh. But look here, this is the second plane that struck the World Trade Center shortly after 9 o'clock Eastern time this morning. An earlier plane left the tower of smoke in the upper stories of the building on the right there. So both towers hit by planes, they burned for a while, and then one at a time, they both collapsed. We have an onlooker who gave us what is sort of a horrific description of what it all looked like, sounded like, and felt like. Let's hear from that person now.
I saw the building falling down.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
I saw people jumping from the building, from the 100th floor, and I saw the building just coming down.
It is absolutely an appalling day, not only here in Manhattan, but also in Washington, where the Pentagon also was apparently the subject of a strike by one of these hijacked airliners, flying bombs, really. The Pentagon in these pictures taken earlier, but still very much on fire.
John, do you have any sense of the casualties?
We don't have any sense, Peter, except the size of the medical operation that has been set up here is enormous. They are anticipating the casualties. Certainly the injured will be in the hundreds. I certainly don't want to speculate on those killed.
Very quickly, under orders from the FAA, airports nationwide are now closed all across the country. Anybody's just connecting with the world today and you're planning to go anywhere on an aircraft from one place to another, you can just forget it. So let's go back to the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan on the west side and talk to Don Dahler. Don.
Over for New York yet. As you know, this is one of the most densely constructed pieces of real estate in the world, and when the Twin Towers collapsed, it appears that they ignited fires on surrounding buildings. And about 5 minutes ago, there was quite a bit of activity as a number of police officers started moving back individuals as well as firemen who were with their fire trucks away. So they moved the line of demarcation back away from that area. Right before the second tower collapsed, when you and John were talking about the concerns over that possibility, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani walked right past me here on Church Street and Duane Street, again about 4 blocks from that area, moving his entourage out of that region. And then just moments later was when the collapse happened. There was a complete cessation of ambulances and any kind of emergency traffic in this area for about 5 minutes, and then slowly I saw 1 or 2 ambulances trickling out of this incredible cloud of dust with debris on top of them. Some of them had broken windshields. There was a police car that came by that looked like the top had been almost completely stove in. And that's one of the most disconcerting aspects this morning has been on this avenue that has been opened up, Church Street, there's just been a trickling of emergency vehicles.
I thought that I would never live to see anything like this. I didn't think anything like this was possible. When I first arrived there, I rushed down there from Midtown Manhattan, and I saw the first building that had been crashed open. And when you look at it, it takes you a minute to really comprehend that this is actually happening. And to see people jumping from the top of the World Trade Center, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a nightmare that's worse than this.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell me, are people panicking down there, or
no,
are they
people?
leaving?
I was, I was there right in a building that got hit by the debris when the first tower collapsed. So I had to evacuate with people. and we were trapped in the building for a while. And we finally were able to get out, and we all walked north. And people, everything that I observed, even though it was hundreds, maybe in some cases thousands of people that were walking down the street, they were orderly, they were calm, they handled themselves really probably better than anybody had any right to expect. But when the building collapsed, we had a lot of our police officers and firefighters in the building. And I know many of them because I saw some of them go in because I was there, and I'm praying for them. I just hope they're able to get out.
I think we all are.
The losses to our police department and fire department,
Sir,
I believe are going to be severe.
Do you believe that was there another set of explosions that caused the buildings to collapse, or was it the structural damage caused by the planes?
I don't know. I saw the first collapse and heard the second because I was in a building when the second took place. I think it was structural, but I cannot be sure.
And can you tell us how many hospitals in the city and perhaps outside the city too? All of them.
Right now, at last count, we were utilizing over 50. I think it'll be over 100 and that was as of a half hour ago.
And
we're utilizing all of the hospitals in New York City. We're utilizing the hospitals in Westchester and Rockland, Nassau County, northern New Jersey. I never thought I would see something like this happen. I got there after the first plane hit and before the second, and watching people jump from the top of the World Trade Center is an unbelievable sight. We also have thousands of police officers in Lower Manhattan, and what we want people to do is to leave Lower Manhattan if they can on their own. Just to walk. I just talked to Dick Grasso, who runs the stock exchange, and we have a lot of police there. They have 3,000 people there. We're going to walk them out. So that area of Manhattan. Once I was in a building at the time that we were using as a command center, and we were trapped in the building for a while. And then anyone that wants to volunteer from surrounding areas, volunteer fire departments and others, we're working with them now to do that, to try to relieve our fire department.
It's a horrific day, Mr. Mayor.
There's no possible way to begin to describe it.
No, there is not.
To see what happened there is, of course, it makes you very, very angry. It's almost impossible to describe the level of anger that you have that somebody or someone would do something like this. And
Sir,
all of the good and wonderful people that were affected by this. There's no reason for this. There's no excuse for this. And there's something like this. It's just something you never thought you would live to see.
I couldn't agree more, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
New York's Mayor Rudy Giuliani on what was to be an election day. The mayor not up for re-election because of term limits, but the election has been postponed. Jeff, I just step back for a second.
Well, that's
you talk about anger. And we stand up here and we look at this, and we've all listened to what's been going on now as we've been on the air for 3 hours or so. But what is clear is that this is a day unlike any other. The worst fears of officials around the country, security, intelligence, military officials, political leaders, worst fears being realized, being played out in New York and Washington, 80 miles outside of Pittsburgh where a plane went down. Other planes have crashed. We don't know the circumstances precisely. We now have a report perhaps of another building here in New York that has collapsed. CNN producer Rose Arce is on the phone. Rose, what can you tell us?
Yes, there's another building very close to the World Trade Center that was hit by debris some time ago, and it appears to be on the verge of collapse. Also, that enormous plume of smoke that you see that's surrounding the building, there are suspicions that it's not all smoke, but that there is a gas leak within that smoke. And that has caused a tremendous amount of panic in this area. The police have been saying that they're now evacuating all of Lower Manhattan, and you can see people moving north in a flood through these streets. They're just filled with ash. You know, as you walk through the ash, you can see debris from inside the World Trade Center itself, a very, very eerie scene, pieces of paper from people's desks, office supplies, many, many blocks from the site of the actual explosion, where they now are fearing that there may be yet another explosion because of this potential gas leak.
film. Maybe this is a movie, but this is the reality of what's going on. Look at the flames that are coming out of this building, and of course, you know, we're thinking about the number of injured and the number of dead. Mayor Giuliani is quite angry, as you know, about what has happened. But the next step is where do we go from here?
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward. Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts. God bless.
That